Radio. Gosh, that's a blast from the past, isn't it? Does anybody listen to radio anymore? Well, apparently they do. And that's what we're going to talk about today on Goat Talk. So we'll be back in 45 seconds. Good morning, Deed Grabbers. It's another great day in Apollo Beach, Florida. Welcome to Goat Talk for June 16th. Gosh, today we're here talking about radio. Welcome to our Facebook Live. I've got my producer over here messing around. Something's going on. But anyway, maybe we'll be okay. If you're joining us on YouTube, we hope that you'll subscribe to the channel. And you can do that at this link, sub2deals.com/YouTube. If you're interested in getting some of the most affordable real estate creative finance coaching on the planet, you can join us at $7coaching.com. We're going to go ahead and just get started this morning. Let's just bring Randy in. Hey, Randy, how are you?
I am here.
Yeah.
Finally, right?
That's right.
My alarm went off right at 10 o'clock, so I tried to sign in, and I didn't realize I had to make a second click to say, yes, sign in.
Well, cool. So Randy's a Sub-2 Max student. He runs a RIA in Arkansas. How long have you been running that thing, Randy?
Too long? 7 years. 7.5 years, something like that.
Yeah, taught a lot of people creative finance. Listen, you tell everybody about yourself, and then we'll get going.
All right. Well, I did my first investment property / my own personal house in 87. So I've been doing this a long time. And then I bought the second one. It was about 3 years later. And then it was like 10 years later. But 2010, I went full time, head first into this full time, and haven't looked back. And, you know, I knew even back in college, I wanted to do real estate somehow, some way. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's like moving to Florida. I knew when I was 12 and my parents took me to the beach that I was going to live in Florida sometime. I just didn't know it was going to be when I was 45. Mm-hmm. So, right. Anyway, I love real estate. I love teaching people real estate to help change their lives because it literally can. Mm-hmm. You know, William.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's why you do this. You don't coach and teach to get rich. You do it for paying it forward. Right. So, so that's what we do. Right. And, but I'm a full-time investor. We do multiple deals every single month. We do a lot of creative stuff when the market allows for it. We didn't do a lot of sub-2s this past 12 months. Right. But they're kicking in right now big time with the foreclosures and stuff. So
for sure.
So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah. Okay, great, awesome. I know you first brought up radio ads to me. Gosh, it's been a few months ago now, but we just had in May, we had our Sub-2 Max Mastermind here in Florida, and you talked about radio ads, and we had a full room in there, and everybody was super interested. So that's okay, we got to have you on here to talk about radio ads and have you in the group. So tell me what first, and we've got a couple of students in the waiting room here that want to come out and ask you some questions, but let's just get the background on it. What got you interested in radio ads? I mean, as real estate investors, you know, we all do the normal things, whether it's bandit signs or ads or postcards or magnetics, and texting's real popular now and all that stuff. That's another topic, but so what got you interested in radio ads?
Well, I've done all those things you said, and they're all successful if you are diligent about doing them. the thing about marketing is it's got to be constant. It's got to be, uninterrupted.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what, you've just got to keep doing it. And if you do any of those things, they all work.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been a marketer pretty much all my life. And so I'm always looking for ways, one, that I'm the big fish in the small pond,
Mm-hmm.
but also getting the people to contact me, raise their hand and contact me versus me having to go out there and search for the few that want to raise their hand. That's
Mm-hmm.
always more expensive.
Right.
So, I was actually listening to a podcast. It wasn't yours, but it was somebody's. But that's the whole thing, is always be learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things about this business. I've been doing this for 30 years, and it's
Mm-hmm.
always be learning, because there's a new twist on an old strategy, or something new that comes up, laws change, just whatever the case may be. But I heard on a podcast a guy talking about it, and it's like, it's really expensive to do radio and TV. This
Mm-hmm.
guy was talking about how to do it cheaper.
Right.
And I said, hey, what the heck? It was $5,000 or something like that. And money's just a commodity, and $5,000, I get one deal, I paid for it. So I said, what the heck? I jumped headfirst into the program and learned it. It works. And I'm going to qualify that, in you and I've talked about, is depending on your market and the timing in the marketplace.
Right.
Right now, up until this point, the last 12 months, it has been an extremely hot market as we've come out of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing in most markets, it's probably been hard to negotiate really good deals on radio ads. So, because as businesses boom and trying to hire employees back, they're advertising to try to get their customers back. And so that's a hot market for the radio stations. They're not going to negotiate down, just like in a seller's market. They're not negotiating the price. You're paying over list price. Same
Right.
thing with a radio station. But things are changing right now. Right this minute, they are changing. I actually, knowing this was coming up, I talked to my radio person, I think it was Monday, that I buy from here locally. And she goes, we're not seeing a drop off yet, but we're not seeing additional, ads coming in either. But she expects in the next 30 to 60 days, their marketing book will get a lot thinner, and that's when they'll start negotiating. So now is the time to start talking to radio stations, because it takes 4 to 6 to 8 weeks to build that relationship, build that rapport, just like we do in real estate.
Right.
You got to build that rapport to get that trust and likability thing with them, so that they're willing to work with you.
Right.
If you're a jerk, they're less willing to negotiate with you. So you got to build that rapport, have lunch with them, buy them coffee, at Starbucks, build that relationship. So
right.
That's, I think, why we're talking about this now, is because now is the time to start talking, for August, September timeframes, as far as maybe being able to buy ads at a cheaper price.
Right. Now, I know, we're talking about what investors do, and I tried a ton of stuff when I got started too. I even did billboards one time, which I wouldn't recommend to anybody. I mean, unless you're going to really saturate a market, and just have the money to do it repeatedly, and you just want to get your face out there, or however it is that you do it. But I know radio has that sort of association with being very expensive and not affordable for people, especially getting started. And most of the rates, I know you and I had talked about rack rates for radio and things like that, whether it's $40 or $50 an ad or more, but you're able to get your ads down. I'm going to let you tell everybody, what are you paying right now for your ad spots?
I'm paying 1 to 1.5% of their cum ratings. So as an example, if their cum ratings is 50,000, I'm trying to pay $5. Okay. Their rack rate is probably, on a 50,000 cum station, it is probably $50 an ad. So I'm paying 10% of what I'm trying to pay 10% of what they normally charge.
Right.
And they laugh at you and they do all sorts of things. But you know what? Just like in real estate, build that rapport, be there at the right time,
Mhm.
and a lot of times you can get deals. Now, I've got one that I'm paying, right at 1%. I've got one that I'm paying like 1.4%. I've got one that I'm paying 2%.
Mhm.
But you just got to determine in your marketplace how good you are at closing. It's just like any marketing. Are you closing 1 in 5, 1 in 20, 1 in 50, 1 in 100? You can pay more if your close ratio is good, if you're a good negotiator.
Right.
So, I'm not
So,
saying I'm a great negotiator, but I'm pretty good, and I'm always constantly trying to improve. So I
right.
can pay a little bit more than the 1% rate.
Right. So Vincent says in Los Angeles, it's about 5,000 a week to advertise on a radio station.
Yeah, it could be. The bigger the station, the bigger your cume, which is their listenership, is basically what that is.
Right.
In a time frame, you're not looking at their overall listenership. You want a specific time frame,
Right.
which for us is 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday only.
Right.
And the reason for that, there's a specific reason for this, is that's when people are driving to and from work or at lunch or going shopping or whatever. People don't listen to the radio for the most part, the people you're trying to get to, in the quantities on the weekends, at nights. And radio stations will constantly trying to say, oh, well, we'll throw in this if you'll do this. We want to run you to midnight. No. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it was a great, last year, it was a great test of this, is that here in Arkansas, we got a 22-inch snow, which is an all-time record for us. It shut down the city.
Right.
Nobody was driving because we're kind of a hilly city. And like in 10 days, I got like one call because nobody was driving. Nobody was listening to the radio. And so that told me for sure that 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. is when you get your calls.
Right. So let's give everybody some numbers here really quickly. You've been running radio ads for how long now?
A year and a half. We started
year and a half.
Our first ad was January a year ago.
And you've been really consistent in how many ads, the times, month after month after month.
Yes, we contract for a year at a time. So we run the same ad on the same stations week after week, and we don't change it.
Right.
And yes, there are peaks and valleys as to the number of calls you get, but consistency is the name of the game, just like in any marketing.
And your pattern there, if I remember correctly, you told me you run 100 ads a month. It's Monday through Friday, 5 ads a day, the exact same ad. They're 1-minute ads. They're voice clip ads.
Yep.
Just you talking, just saying, "Hey, I'm Randy. I buy houses." I mean, I heard it. It's not like it's no special effects, no bells and whistles. Just a guy doing a 60-second ad.
And that's what the radio station will try to, let us add some background music. No, that's all been tested. The background music causes lower response rate.
Right.
So
you're running 100 ads a month. Like I said, 5 a day, 5 days a week, just a very set schedule. And if you're paying $5 an ad, you're paying $500 a month.
A month, yes. Now,
to run that
I'm not in a huge market in Little Rock.
Right.
But, in Dallas, that's going to be a lot more expensive in Dallas.
Right. But you and I know, because we've been doing this for a while, that the keys, especially if you're local, that's what you do. You invest locally. But if you're remote investing, you're looking for a little bit smaller market. That's what I've been trying to tell people for years. I'm not looking for a million population. I want 200,000 or so.
Correct. And that's what my city is 200, but my MSA, because the cities have all grown together, is about 700.
Okay. So it's costing you, let's just say you've been doing this for a year and a half. You're paying $500 a month to do it. That costs you $6,000 a year.
Yeah.
And how many?
And the first month, in the first 2 months, I got 4 deals.
Right. In the first
off
2
that one station. And then we added a second station.
Right. And part of that is the consistency. People hear you over and over and over.
And that's a good point, because I actually had 2 or 3 different people call and tell me they waited over a month to call me because they wanted to see if I was real, if I was a scammer, they figured if I was on the radio for 2 months, the radio station would have kicked me off if they found out I was a scammer. They literally said that to me.
Right. Okay. And I noticed it because I've heard your ad. I mean, you know, you're Randy, you're just local guy, you know, you're not trying to sound too sharp, which it's hard for us to sound really smooth, you know, really
with our Southern
really
accent.
Yeah. It's
And I will tell you, in the class that I took, they taught us basically that they have tested all this stuff. They've tested local celebrities like your TV and radio station guys. They've tested sports celebrities, national sports celebrities. They've, you know, older actors like the guy that played Punch on, what was it, Chips. You know, they've tried all that. The business owner talking with no background music, one, makes you a celebrity, so it gives you credibility, but it just seems more real to everybody, and they're more willing to talk to you. And they said by far it pulls in more response rates.
Right. Now, you told me an interesting story, and for you people listening to this saying, okay, well, maybe I can get the rate down to $500 or $600 a month or whatever it is, but I've got to, I've got to have fancy equipment to record this, this commercial and pay for studio time. Tell everybody, Randy, how you recorded your commercial.
Well, I signed the contract in around the 1st of December of a year and a half ago, and we were going to go live in January. We were in the middle of COVID. The studios were shut down. They would not let anybody come in. And they said, you've got to find someplace that's super quiet to record this. So a friend of mine told me that does some audio stuff, says, go into your master bedroom closet. You've got clothes hanging in there. That's your dampening effect. Turn off your heating and air, because if it kicks on, that little breeze coming out of the vents will get picked up on the mic. And go in there, shut your closet door, and record. And I did. My ad that is still running on the first station is that ad, and the subsequent ones were recorded in studio, but that ad still runs, and that is really my best pulling ad, and it's the smallest station of all three.
Right. So you've been in your local market now for a year and a half, and you said in the first 60 days you got 4 deals off your radio.
Yep.
So you've been doing this for a year and a half now, spending the 100 ads a month, 5 days a week. I mean, no variations, no changing the ads up, just running this thing. And you contribute how many deals per month to radio advertising?
I'm going to say, and I didn't look at this before the thing, but I'm going to say that we're signing 2 deals per month on average, and we could be signing more than that, but I've been a one-man operation for all this time, and I've got other sources of leads that bring me more deals than that. And so I've been kind of culling just the best deals. I could probably sign 5 more deals a month.
Right.
And I've now started scaling. My son's come on with me. I just hired an executive assistant this week that has made a tremendous difference in my life in just the first week here.
Right.
And I'm amazed at what she's gotten accomplished in 1 week. She's sitting in the other room listening. That's why I'm saying that.
Is that right?
Yeah. But no, it's just, I mean, I can see my desk. You know, I'm a visionary. My desk is like, you know, it was cluttered. And I can see my desk on the front and the back. And and so now that she's taking all the non-income producing activity off of me, I will probably ramp that up to closing 4 or 5 radio station deals a month here in the month of June or July.
Right.
So because I know there's at least, I guarantee you, I've got at least 10 or 15 deals out there sitting right now that I just have to go and close them.
Right. All right, that's great. Okay, so well worth the $500 or $600 a month for
now
radio.
I'm running 2 stations here in my market, so between the two, one's running, I think is $4 or $5, and the other one's like $7 or $8. So I'm spending $1,200 to $1,300 a month on 2 stations here locally. And I'm hoping nobody on this call is from my market and going after, you know, and telling, hey, you're only charging that amount for this guy. Because there is somebody else that has copied my ad now. Right. On one of my stations, almost to the T.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, and I don't know how well he's doing, but he's been running for about a year.
Oh yeah.
He came to my RIA meeting and heard what I did, and so he listened to that and he just copied it, changed a few words here and there, and
Right.
so.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what happens when you teach, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's like that, and it's like, well, I was first to the market here. I'm Coca-Cola, and he's Pepsi, so
Right.
Pepsi never sold as well as
Right.
Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah. And he's, let me guess, he younger.
He's younger.
He'll
Yep.
he'll appeal to a different person.
Yep. Which is not the
Probably.
audience that we're going after. We're
Right.
looking for 40s and up, really.
Right.
So we don't advertise on hip hop and, the pop stations and,
Right.
Stuff like that. That's not what we're looking for.
Right. Now you focus on what somebody's listening here. They go, I'm going to give this a try. What radio station should they be looking for?
All right. So this is a trial and error deal, but we're going to take some of the trial out of it.
Mm-hmm.
What we're looking for, is there a way that I can share my screen? If I want to share a document, can I do that?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Just look down at the bottom. It'll say share.
It doesn't. Let's see. Yeah, I see it. Okay, but I've got to get my email. I had to have my assistant email me this, so let me do that real quick before we share.
All right. Hey, Brian, and I see you in the green room. If you want to come on, just turn your camera on. We'll bring you in if you have a question.
So I copied the actual documents that I was using to negotiate the deal so they can see what we were doing here.
Okay.
All right. So let me pull you back up here. Find you. Where are you? There are. Okay, so if I share my screen, this is the first time I've been on this side of the screen like this.
Sure.
Share screen, and I'm going to move this screen over. So you should be able to see my screen now, right?
No, not yet.
Cancel that. Okay, so one second here. I have to get my millennial in here to show me what I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have trouble all the time. So while we're here, let's see. While Randy's working on that, we're going to say good morning. Good morning, Vincent. Good morning, Liz. Good to see you. Home and market house buyers. Phil, good to see you, Phil. Allie. Southern Scratcher. Well, that's an interesting name. Sarah, good to see you here. Ethan. All right. All right. Good to see you guys. All right. Well, Brian, we're just going to bring you in here. We're going to further try to confuse Randy while he's working on this thing. So
did that pop up now?
No. Well, okay. So here's what we got. All right. There we go.
Okay. Now you can see it, right?
Yep. We can see it.
So this is all the stations in my market. I just Googled it. It said radio stations in Little Rock. So this is how I first started out. And it gives you a list of them and how far away from Little Rock they are, where the tower is actually located, and what kind of music or what kind of station they are.
Right.
So, so I started going in and saying, okay, classical, classic rock. I'm not looking for top 40 because that's younger people. Country, depending on what type of country it is, adult contemporary, rock. We're looking for people that are like 40 and older because those are more likely to be your homeowners.
Right.
That may be getting ready to sell or might be in distress. There's some 30s that own their houses that may be getting divorces and stuff like that. but that's not the main market we're going for in this particular market. So that was my first thing. So then the second thing I did was take these and the stations that I was looking at and narrowed it down. And I'm going to go to the last page here. And then I called those stations and asked them for a ranker report, which you and I've talked about.
Right.
And we were looking for a ranker report. Normally it's a quarterly report. We want 3 months worth of data. So this particular one, as you can see, was from May through July of 20. All right. And what we want is age 18 and above, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's what we want. We don't want Saturday and Sunday. We don't want till midnight.
Right.
And they will all try to send you a report. If you don't pay attention, they will send you a report. They'll say 6 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Friday. And it's like, that's not what I asked for. Please go rerun it. And then they'll send you a Monday through Saturday or a Sunday through Friday. And they're trying to disguise their numbers is what they're trying to do.
Right.
So that they can raise their numbers so they can negotiate at a higher price. So after 2 or 3 times of going back and forth, you will get this report. You can see here, 18 plus, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I'm wearing trifocals, so I have to put my head up in case you see me still. So then it ranks the stations in my market based upon the average person listening, the CUME report, weekly CUME reports. And then I fill in, okay, what kind of stations is this? So I'm getting rid of the ones that aren't the type of stations I want.
Right.
And then looking at the rankings, because that's going to be my negotiating point. Their weekly CUME reports is my trying to negotiate a 1% off of that. And like I said, they're going to try to laugh at you, but I'm going to show you the stations that I am on. I am on KURB number 7 here, and their CUME report was 58.8. So technically, I should be paying $5.80 for that if I was at 1%. I'm paying slightly higher than that.
Right.
Last year I paid 7. This year I'm paying 8. They want to increase it a little bit this year. And so, and then the other one I'm on is number 9 here, KARN, which is a talk radio station. It's more of a conservative talk radio station. And 33.9. So that tip should be $33.40 an ad. And I'm paying $4 an ad. So, you know, a 33,000 CUME station, it's smaller, but it's not small. Look at these down here that are 4,000, you know, 13,000, you know, and those are usually individually owned stations, but not always. Sometimes they've started the Cumulus, the one that owns nationwide stations. They'll start a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th station, like this one here. This I think this KTHE, that is like a 5th station of Cumulus, I think.
Right.
You know, so I don't usually go to those stations. I'm wanting something kind of in the middle here. You know, if this KSSN, which is like the biggest in the area, it's a country and western, they want $75 an ad, and they won't negotiate because their book is full. Like they call their book that's their advertising book.
Right.
How many advertisers do they have in there? Their book is always full.
Right.
So they don't negotiate. So could I pay $75 an ad? That's $7,500 a month. Yeah. When you look at it, I only have to have one deal a month to pay for that. But now I'm choosing not to.
Right.
So that is step number 2. Is getting the CUME report for the time and the demographics that you want, and then choosing the stations to start negotiating with. You know, like I said, I'm on classic rock here and a conservative talk radio. In my other city that I have the other station in, I'm on a country and western station, and it's doing pretty good too. And it's a smaller city. It's 60,000 people in that city. So, and we just started that 3 months ago.
Right.
And we're averaging, we're probably averaging about 20 leads a month out of that. So,
are you using different, I know you said you're on different stations. Are you using different phone numbers in your ad to track which station?
Yes. different phone numbers on each station so I can see how many ads. And in my phone, it comes through. I've got that phone number programmed as KRN or KURB, so I know what station's coming in.
Right.
It's the same ad on every station other than the phone number.
Right.
Same exact ad.
So do you find that one type of radio station produces better?
You know, being in this group, and I don't know how many people were in the group, but at that time when I was still in that group, they had over 800 stations nationwide within the group. And for the most part, conservative talk radio, classic rock were the best stations. In certain markets, some of the gospel stations, again, you got to look at the demographics of who's listening to the gospel. And there's some of the people in the group were doing Spanish stations. And from what I heard in the group when we were having our group calls, it was kind of a hit and miss type situation. So so I'm just kind of staying in the right lane and just kind of plowing forward because I know this is working for me.
Right. Well, I mean, and the key there is, I mean, what you said, you were getting deals within 30 days of the ads being up and running. So it's not like, well, I've got to set it and wait for 6 months to start getting results from it.
Yeah.
As soon as they hear you.
Yeah. So let's talk about the next thing you're going to do is getting an instant qualitative profile, IQP. It's also called a qualitative report, QR. But an IQP is what the industry language is. So, and some stations will tell you they don't have this stuff. They may or may not. They may be lying to you. They're a good-sized station. They've got this. This is a Nielsen report. Again, 18 plus, and it's going to break down this particular one. I'll show you male and female listenership. More females than males by almost 2 to 1.
Right.
Employment. I mean, you don't want to be looking at a station that is disabled, temporarily laid off, well, maybe, unemployed, unless they're a homeowner, because then they may be a desperate seller, highly motivated seller. But as you come on down here, you can see what is their makeup of their business, of their jobs. Sales and office, 20%. White collar, 52%. Blue collar, 12%. This is the classic rock station. And then home ownership, 54% of this listenership own their homes. That's what I'm looking for.
Right.
Doesn't do any good if you're talking to renters, right?
Right.
And then it has the age breakdown, the household income. If you're looking at a station that are all high-end home ownership or high-end income, they're probably not going to be buying the houses or owning the houses that you're trying to buy for the most part. My sweet spot is 20,000 to 200,000. Yes, there's deals out there. We just negotiated one for a $300,000 house, and but that's not my sweet spot. But those deals come. So, and it tells you your education level and stuff like that.
But you're still in a market that has very affordable housing.
Yes.
I mean,
less affordable than it was 6 months ago.
Well, yeah, but your median priced home is still probably 300 or less.
Yes, it's right there in that range. But it was 100 and something 2 years ago. And but the same thing goes for any market. If you're in Phoenix, if you're in Dallas, your price point's higher, but your profit margins are higher too. We do a lot of $10,000 to $25,000 deals. We also do some $50,000 and $100,000 deals, but the majority of them are, if it's a wholesale deal, 5 to 15, a few 20s and 30s thrown in there. If it's a rehab deal, I won't rehab a house if I'm not making at least 35 or 40. Period.
Right.
It's not worth my time, and even then, it's not worth my time. But I kid myself sometimes to think that I am a rehabber sometimes.
That's right. We're trying to stay away from that stuff. Hey, Brian, did you have a specific question that you?
I got a couple actually. If we got the time, I actually I started negotiating with one of the Cumulus groups in the Tri-Cities area, And yeah, they were kind of, I mean,
they always start off like, you're crazy.
Yeah, it didn't start like he wasn't like that, but he was like, well, we can negotiate around the lower on the lower end of the numbers on our rate sheet or whatever. And I was like, well, fuck that. Randy's getting for $4 a lead, like, or $4. I'm not gonna. I think it was like at 8. I mean, I guess maybe I should have, continued with that. Maybe that conversation I can open it back up again, but. I wasn't looking forward to like the 6 weeks of negotiations back and forth. So I put in my email. I was like, I'm closing out my advertising budget for quarter 3, in a week. And I kind of put them on a deadline, and it just didn't work how I had hoped.
It's a relationship building exercise.
Yeah.
And you were talking quarterly advertising. I'm talking to him. I'm signing a 1-year contract. I'm going to run the same ad for a year. I'm your easiest customer that you will ever deal with. You'll never hear from me until it's time to sign a renewal next year.
Gotcha.
If you think about their restaurants and their car dealerships, they're changing their ad every single week. That's a lot of work for them to do.
That's true. I should put that in there. I'm not changing.
You just have to present yourself as just what you said, Randy. You're just let's sign the contract, and every month I'm going to send you a check. I'm never going to change my ad. You can move me around if you need to accommodate other people. I'm easy.
Well, and that's the other thing. I don't know. Were you talking to them about a preemptive rate?
50% preemptive.
Yeah, 50% preemptive, because they'll throw out stuff like, well, we have this. It's federal law that during election years they have to have the lowest rate. I said, but that's not comparing it. That is a standard non-preemptive rate. Preemptive is not included in that. So don't let them try to BS you with that kind of excuse. And they will all do that, especially this year being an election year.
When you had that CUME report up, did you just get that off Nielsen ratings, or do you have to get that from them?
You get that from the station because they're pulling their CUME, or you said a CUME report.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You can get that from any of the stations.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. So that was the bottom one here. They'll send you that for all the stations in the market.
So where it says, when you say you're trying to pay,
it's called a ranker report, by the way. It's called a ranker report.
Ranker report. Okay. And when you
use
say
the right
you're trying
terminology, and it sounds like you know what you're talking about, even though none of us do.
Yeah. So when you say you pay 1 to 1.5%, which number is that? Is that the average person's?
Can you see? I know this is small writing. Can you see this? The third column here is a weekly CUME.
Yes.
That is what I'm striving for, is 1% of the weekly CUME.
And that's per month?
Per month, yes.
Or
per ad. So like, so this top one is 66.4. So I'm looking at that as 1% of that is $6.60 per ad.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Thanks. I appreciate that. Okay.
And so the negotiation point in this is, I understand that your rack rate's 50 or 40 or 60, and I get that. We're not going to be right for you maybe right now, but at some point when your book gets open and you can't get advertisers because of the inflation and business is going out of business, we're going to be able to fill that. We're preemptive. So we're going to fill in. We're kind of like buying remnants, remnant ads on TV and whatever. We're kind of like that. And we're simple. You can plug us in anywhere as long as within this time frame. You can't put more than one ad in any 60-minute period. Not like once an hour by the clock. Nothing closer than 60 minutes to each other. So, but other than that, you can run it anytime during that time frame. You can bounce us up to 50% of the time as long as you run at least half of the 25 per week. And so we're your fill-in. We're your remnant deal. And so you can do this for that because we've got over 800 stations nationwide that are doing this. We know it works. We know that you can do that when your book's not full. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. When I was looking at the, go ahead. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
A lot of times you're talking to the local salesperson and they have to run it up to their sales manager. So this is the reason you have to build that rapport, because they have to keep going to their sales manager for approval. They've got to be your representative to the sales manager. And so they got to be fighting for you. Now, they're on a commission basis, so they don't get anything if they don't sell something. So they're going to fight for you if you build that rapport for them. That is one of the biggest things that I learned in this process.
Gotcha. You mentioned you have all these different phone numbers. What kind of like apps? I think you mentioned it at the mastermind, but I didn't write them down. Are you using for all that kind of
Brittany, can you take these calls that are coming in? That one just ended, but you can, if they call in again, just answer it. Sorry about that. Ask the question again, please.
No problem. What apps are you using? Because you have all these different phone numbers and that kind of stuff. What do you kind of recommend for that?
You know, I kind of go out there and look at the different brokers out there that are selling the phone numbers. I've used the Phone Number Guy, the Phone Number Expert, and some of them, they own the numbers already. Some of them, they're just brokering the numbers. So you can see those same numbers sometime on 2 or 3 different websites. And the ads or the numbers that I've bought, I've been buying in the $250 to $300 range. I want a phone number that is easy to remember, because you remember, your person is driving the car. They probably can't write it down, so it needs to be something that they can jingle or remember easy. You know, you want your local station or your local phone number, 501 in my case, you know, because they don't have to remember that. And then something like one of my numbers is 404-5555. And I do that both ways. 501-404-5555. That's 401-504-5555. And then I repeat it again as 404-5555 at the very end, so that it rings in their head. And this is an interesting thing, because I will get a lot of phone calls that hang up immediately. And I call them back and they say, oh, I can't talk right now, but I wanted to save your phone number so I can call you tonight. That's great. So,
gotcha. Cool. What kind of apps do you use on your phones for like the different phone numbers coming in and that kind of stuff?
Okay. Well, I'm converting everything to REI Black Book. So I've got one station out of town. The other station is coming through Black Book, and the other is coming through CallRail. So I'm getting ready to port the other ones over to Black Book.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. You know, when you brought up the demographics, I always hate to mention this because it sounds so sexist, but I don't know if you guys experience this as well, but I find I'm only buying houses from guys. Like, you know, women might sign up for calls, women might call, but in the end, I'm basically only buying houses from guys. Is that what you guys are experiencing too?
Let me think back. I'm going to say it's probably 75 to 80% guys.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. There have been some women that I bought from. Normally, they are widowed or divorced or whatever. But there have been some that the women take the lead because maybe the husband is in bad health or something. Like we just recently, we're closing tomorrow on one that we bought 2 months ago. And the lady took the lead because the husband's in bad health. He's had both legs amputated and he's got prosthetics, but it was just harder for him to get around. And so she took the lead on everything. And but yeah. I'm going to say it's probably 75 to 80% male that are negotiating the deal, even though, as we saw in one of the demographics, it was 2/3 women on that station. So,
yeah, that's the kind of, yeah.
Here is an iHeart station. This is that country and western station that they will not negotiate a dime on. Their IQP looks a little bit different. I'm not on this station, but I want to show you. 56-44 male to female. They always try to talk to you about their reach of how many people are in their market, you know, age composition, their median, everything like that, household income, ethnic composition. This one has that. The other ones didn't. Persons in household. This one does not include home ownership. So that one didn't do too well for me as far as like, if I don't know that, I don't know anything. I'm going to drop this off unless somebody wants to come back, unless anybody wants to look at something here on this.
I think we're good.
Okay.
We've got a few questions here. Liz had a question. She wanted to know, do you run your ads multiple times per day?
Yes, we're running maximum right now 5 ads per day, minimum 2 to 3, because they can preempt me 50% of the time. So that's either 2 or 3, depending on whatever. They've got to give me at least 12 or 13 ads a week. But I'm running 100 per month, 25 per week, if everything goes good. I will tell you, this is the nice thing about negotiating the preemptive deal. I'm rarely preempted. I'm getting the ads run. They could cut me down to 50 ads on each station per month. I think my lowest I've ever had was 82 on one station, and I'm usually running between 90 and close to 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they're rarely preempting me.
Liz said that's funny because the 2 deals I've done were both from women. And, Liz, that may have something to do with the fact that women are more comfortable dealing with women.
Well, you got that, but also, I have found that a woman in our business can be, if they work the same as we do, learn the same, can negotiate the same, they have 80% better chance of closing a deal than even if it's with a guy. I don't care if the guy's 90 years old, he's gonna flirt, and that's just part of human nature. And I'm not telling women that they have to go out there and flirt back, but this is sales. And I know we're in a woke society these days, but I'm a salesperson. I got to do what I got to do as far as like building that rapport. If the guy, if a woman's flirt, I've had a lady I bought a house from a lady that was like 85 years old. She found out she was graduated from the same college that I did. The next day that I went back over there, she had lipstick on and she had dressed instead of being in her nightgown, and saying, "Hey, we've got a college reunion coming up and I haven't been going. Would you go with me?" And everything. She was hitting on me. I mean, lipstick, the whole ball, had makeup on and everything. And, so I walked through the house. She had her arm inside my arm, like we were walking down the street, and I just made her feel good. And we bought the house. Did I go to that college reunion? No.
Hey, Vincent asked, have you advertised on NPR?
I have not. And I don't know if it's very good or not for sure, but this is the feedback that I've gotten from other people that was in that group, and that group doesn't exist anymore the way we had it. Is that NPR people, there's a higher percentage of non-home ownership there. And at least that's what they've told me, and they have not done well on NPR stations.
Hey, let me ask you this, Randy. Somebody asked if they could listen to your ad. Are you comfortable with that? Or
yeah, I'm fine.
All right. Do you have the sound clip on your computer?
Do I? Yeah. No, I think he sent it to me. Hey, Brittany. I don't know. Yes, I do. I can go into. Never mind. I can go into Facebook and get that.
Okay.
And let's see if it'll play on here. Because my social media guy sent it to me. And let's see if it will play. That was May that we were down there, right?
Yeah.
All right, Seth. That was about the 20th, 23rd, right?
It was.
I got to go way back here. No, that's not that far back.
Let me.
I should be right in here. Let's say maybe he did send it to me because I'm all the way back in March. Hey, Brittany, can you bring my phone to me?
I think I've got it here, Randy. I think I can play it.
Yeah, I sent it to you too.
Okay. Let me see if this works. See if you guys can hear this at all. I'm going to turn this up and see if it'll go.
Hi, this is Randy Thomason with Arkansas Property Buyers, and I buy houses cash. Call me today at 479-262-8888. I'll buy your house for cash and pay your closing cost. I buy houses in any price range in any location in the Fort Smith area. Do you own a house that needs thousands of dollars in repair? Great, because I love buying fix-up houses. Do you owe too much and can't sell it with a realtor? I can buy your house and close when you want to close. Do you have a tenant living in your property? Not a problem. I'll buy your house even with the tenant in it. Do you think your property will be a difficult one to sell? Easy. We provide assistance in any situation. Are you in forbearance or foreclosure and don't see a way out? No problem, as we have a special program just for you. It doesn't matter what your situation is, we can help. Remember, if you need cash fast, I'll pay you cash and close quickly to get money in your hands. Call me today at 479-262-8888. That's 479-262-8888. Hi, this is Randy Tom.
All right.
So that 262 prefix is the local number there.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have to remember the 479 or the 262. All they have to remember is 8888.
Right. Okay. Just a simple ad, no music, no special effects, nothing magic about it except Randy.
No, just me.
All right. So Ethan had a question. Would love details on the negotiation process. Call, email, sales rep, work with more than one rep for efficiency. In case one is a dud, do you just stick to the same request until they wear down?
Pretty much so. You know, my deal was check in every couple of weeks with them, say, hey, I'm just checking in with you. You're building that rapport. You know, hey, how's life going with you? Hey, when we were having coffee, you were talking about your daughter going to that rodeo. How did she do? You know, building that rapport is about half of it. And just staying in touch until that time comes when their book is not full. And it's like, you know, hey, we're struggling a little bit now. I think we might be able to get my sales manager to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you'll be talking directly to the sales manager because they've laid off their salespeople, and you'll talk directly to them. I'm on one station, I'm talking directly to the sales manager on the two stations here in Little Rock. The other one, I was talking to the sales person that had to go with the chain.
All right. Okay. Hey, Brian, did you have other questions for Randy?
I do not. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate your help.
Hey, well, thanks for popping in with us, Prop Daddy. All right. We'll catch you later. All right. So Randy, any, I don't know. So really the process is pretty simple. I mean, your system is 5 ads a day, Monday through Friday, 1 minute ads, 100 ads a month, and you're looking to pay maybe 1.5% of the CUM.
The weekly
CUM. The weekly CUM. That's
your
target.
You're right. That's our target. Now, will I pay more than that? Yes, but they don't know that.
Right.
You know, if I want to be on a station or in the market, like the Fort Smith, which is a smaller city, I'm paying 2.5% there. But I wanted to try out a country and western. That's a big growth area for me right now in that market. It's right on the Oklahoma border. But that's where the Air Force has put the F-35 training base for all the foreign governments. They all have to come here to that. And the Air Force is going to pump $1 billion into that $60,000 city over the next 5 years. So guess where I'm going? And I was already doing a few deals up there, but now I'm doing more deals.
Right. So I know you said you had just started that. You've been in that market for how long now?
You mean on the radio? I've been in there. This is the third month.
The third month. And have you bought houses yet as a result?
I bought 2 up there from radio. As you know, I do a lot of Medicaid deals. I just bought 2 up there from Medicaid situation last Friday. Right. So that's what took me into that market, because their salesperson is very heavy in that market. And so I'm there. So that's why I made that one my second radio place.
Right.
I've got 3 other cities I plan on doing around the state, so I can cover the whole state, but that's where I went second.
Okay. So if you guys have any questions, we've got about 5 minutes left, so you can let us have those, and we'll ask Randy. So, just final advice to anybody. First steps: just calling the radio stations, I guess, asking for a ranker report, trying to initiate that contact.
Well, look, Google your stations in your market, because that'll tell you what type of music the station is. Then call one of the bigger stations, because the bigger stations will order the Nielsen reports. So you can get the ranker report from them with the qualifications of the 18 plus and Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can get that from them, and then you can start deciding which stations you want to target. And you need to be working with, I was calling on 7 or 8 stations, narrowed it down to 4, end up signing 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, it's a numbers game like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And just don't give up. They will keep telling you no, and you just keep saying, yeah, I get it. But there'll be a time that you need, it may be 6 months from now. I'm not going away.
Mm-hmm.
It's that trickle, just like, the trickle marketing, just like in Black Book. I'm here every 2 weeks. Let's go have coffee.
Right.
Tell me about your kids. Tell me about what's going on in your life. They love to talk about themselves. Just build that rapport. They'll fight for you.
Right. Yeah.
But start the motion right now, because it may be August or September when they will start really negotiating hard with you or well with you, because their book is still full right now. But I drive around my city, and I'm starting to see restaurants closing down. I'm starting to see the blue trash bins out in front.
Right.
Cleaning out these strip centers or cleaning out a place in the strips. It's starting to happen already.
Right.
With interest rates popping up and inflation, it's going to accelerate.
Well, you told me that's what your rep told you, that with the economy changing and inflation, that big advertisers like restaurants are going to start advertising less, and then the ones that go out of business, of course, not at all.
Right. Well, it is like this in any type of a downturn in the economy. The first thing, and it doesn't matter if it's radio or TV or anything else, the first thing a company cuts, besides people, is their advertising budget, which should be just the opposite. They should be increasing it. But they cut the advertising budget because most of their advertising doesn't have a measurable part of it where they can see if it's working or if it's not. That's why we use an individual phone number for each station, so we can measure it. Mm-hmm. And so that's what they cut, because it's not measurable. We'll just cut it in half.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they start looking, okay, what are we going to keep and what are we not going to keep?
Right.
So, but this is the perfect storm for somebody that's wanting to get into the radio. This is the perfect storm for that right now, to build that relationship now for an August, September contracting timeframe.
Right. Great. Okay. Great information, Randy. We appreciate you being here with us today and sharing that. I'll tell you, we're interested. We're talking to a few, and actually had a guy call us back yesterday. I know I had talked to you a few days ago about how, they seem kind of cool, but we had one call us back yesterday and say, hey, we sent you some information. Have you looked over it? You want to talk about, doing something? So maybe.
Yeah, sometimes you got to call back 4 or 5 or 6 times before you'll even get anybody to call you back. Mm-hmm. That's weird. If you're in a sales position, that you don't call people back. Oh, wait, that's like bandit signs, right? Mm-hmm. People don't call you back when they call you on the bandit signs.
Right. All right. Okay, Randy, thanks again. We appreciate you being here. Hey, guys, we appreciate you joining us today for Goat Talk. We'll be back next Thursday. So until next Thursday, get out there, talk to some sellers, call some radio reps, and buy some houses.